Hello and welcome to AFL.com.au. Well, it's an exciting day because the 2026 Toyota AFL Premiership season fixture has dropped, and the man behind the fixture who knows it better than anybody is the AFL's Head of Strategy and Scheduling, Josh Bowler. Josh, thanks for coming on for a chat.
Thanks for having me, Cal.
We're going to get through some of the big details and big talking points off the fixture. Let's have a look at a few of the headline acts because the Crows, the Cats and the Hawks are leading the way with 8 Thursday and Friday night games. The Tigers and Blues are set for Thursday night in round one, and Bombers and Hawks on Friday night as well. So that's going to be a cracker at the MCG back-to-back. 6 Friday double headers. We'll get into those in some detail. The 6 Sunday night games. 4 games on Anzac Day. So we'll get into a little bit of detail on why that is this year coming up. And the wildcard finals round as well, which of course has already been a headline act itself. Josh, let's talk about round one because we know opening round has been a big focus for the league in the last couple of years, but round one similarly is going to be enormous next year, starting with, of course, Richmond and the Blues.
Yeah, so we've got 7 games in Melbourne in round one this year. It's always a big start with Carlton and Richmond, 80,000+ at the G, and the last couple of years have shown it's always a really hotly contested game, and followed up by another traditional round one matchup in Hawthorn and Essendon, which will be a pretty exciting one to watch.
So Hawthorn and Essendon had Friday night in 2025. They've obviously wanted round one over the past couple of seasons, as well as that rivalry is built and built. Zach Merritt, of course, will be playing against the Hawks, the club he tried to get to in last year's trade period. But is this a fixture you can see settling in on that Friday night like we've seen Carlton and Richmond do on Thursday?
Look, we do take it year to year. This year we've got 4 MCG games, so it's important that we do have an MCG game on the Friday night, and we'll see what performance does and how exciting it is going into any given year in the future.
Looks like a really even fixture as well.
That's the idea. With round one, we want to try to get as many matchups that are evenly matched, as many fan bases going into round one thinking they can grab a win early.
Okay, let's look at some of the Thursday and Friday night games as well, because Adelaide, Geelong and Hawthorn, all key finalists out of last year's final series, have 8 games inside these first 15 rounds. We should say as well, this is just for the first 15 rounds of the season before the floating fixture kicks in. Why have you rewarded those teams with those slots?
So the aim with the Thursday-Friday night mix this year is very much, we had a really competitive top 9 last season, and we wanted to get as many of those teams competing against each other across the Thursday and Friday night mix, and I think you've seen some of those clubs rewarded in that sense.
And you've backed in the Crows in this case to keep rolling?
Yeah, the fans in Adelaide turn out for Thursday and Friday night footy, and they had a great season, finished top of the ladder, so they'll have another crack and finish top 4 potentially.
And looking at the board like we just did as well, Carlton has 7 of these slots and the Western Bulldogs have 7 too. The Western Bulldogs were right on the cusp of the finals last year. Carlton wasn't. They finished 11th. Why the faith in the Blues to hand them so many slots in those positions?
So there's a couple of factors in that. The first one is the Blues do feature in a number of sort of marquee games across that period. So you talk about the round one season opener on Good Friday, and Carlton Collingwood is must-watch TV in prime time. And so that in addition to, we can't have the top 9 competing in every single game. And so those next few clubs, the Swans, the Blues, get rolled through a number of them as well.
We can't wait for Gather Round again. It's been such a great spectacle in Adelaide the past couple of seasons. This is what the fixture looks like for Gather Round, kicking off, of course, with Adelaide and the Carlton Footy Club on Thursday. Bookended by Port Adelaide finishing the round against St Kilda at Adelaide Oval. How did you decide on this mix coming into next year?
Yeah, so the model last year with Port Adelaide finished on the Sunday night, and that worked really well. So we thought it was a great way to start with Adelaide and finish with Port Adelaide. Clearly the games leading in and leading up to the round are important. So you've got Geelong and Hawthorn playing the Monday prior, which means they're going to be towards the back end of the round, and you've got Collingwood and Brisbane playing Easter Thursday in the lead up, and so you see Collingwood on the Friday night against Freo, who also played on the Friday prior.
Now, Brisbane supporters are already wondering how many premierships they have to win to be playing at Adelaide Oval. So they've been at Norwood Oval the past couple of years. This year, coming up, they'll be playing North Melbourne at the Barossa. How's that gone down?
Look, every team, every game, we want to be able to maximise the number of fans attending, particularly those Adelaide Oval games. There's clearly a big travelling contingent from Victoria, and so the games at Adelaide Oval tend to be the games between the ones with the most travelling fans.
Anzac Day weekend, and it is a weekend this year coming up because it's not a midweek performance. It's just a standalone game between Collingwood and Essendon. This year we'll see 4 games on the Saturday. How have you spread those out?
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting day of football. We have a number of clubs who run Anzac Day games most years, and so prior years it gets a little bit harder in the middle of when the Anzac's falling in the middle of the week, just with days breaks. But Hawthorn have previously played down in Tasmania on Anzac Day, and so we're happy to be able to bring that back against the Gold Coast Suns this year, leading into the main game of Collingwood Essendon. And then at night, Fremantle and Port Adelaide both have a really strong game in their respective markets on Anzac Day or Anzac weekend. And so we've been able to deliver 2 big Saturday nights for fans on Anzac Day.
That's going to be big, as is wildcard round at the end of the home and away season. Already been a lot made of the addition of wildcard round. What are you most excited about in terms of this addition to the fixture? We're essentially now at a top 10 final series coming into next year.
So there's going to be a number of battles on the run home. It's going to be important to finish in the top 6 and also just to secure a wildcard spot. A big part of the thinking around the wildcard is to ensure that as many teams as possible are in the run for finals on the run home. And that what excites me is, from a fixture point of view, is that there's going to be a lot of consequential games sort of from round 18 onwards to really finish the season strong, and fans will be able to go to games thinking that they're a real chance to still play finals, and if you're in there, you can go all the way.
Now, very quickly before we let you go, there has been a change in the weighted rule, which is a hard thing to explain in some regards, but it's a feature of the fixture that does underpin the 666 model. Tell us about the change and the clubs it might affect inside that first 6 teams on the ladder from last season.
Yeah, so the weighted rule governs who you play your return matchups against, so that each club plays 6 return matchups. We review the fixture every year, and in particular this, and what's come clear, and it's based on the finishing positions from the prior season, and we've got a very close and compelling competition, and what that means is teams move around a lot from a ladder perspective during the season, which means a club like, compare Brisbane and Geelong last year, they received a very similar fixture at the start of the season based on the weighted rule, but they were vastly different by the end of it. We've added a lot into the fixture, gather around more Thursday nights, more marquee games, more club requests, which are all ultimately opening round, all ultimately really great things for fans. And what we've done is now broadened out the scope of the weighted rule, so you can now play 4 of your own group rather than 2 or 3. And then that just allows us to deliver more in the fixture, and it shouldn't. We don't feel that it's going to have a major impact in the overall performance. We clearly see most years that the best team will win the grand final. And
Geelong and Collingwood will be the teams that do have to play out of that top 6 4 times next year. The double ups. Hey Josh, a lot of work's gone into the fixture. Congratulations on it, and we look forward to seeing it play out next year.
Thanks, Cal.
And for all the fans online, right now you can go and check out your team's fixture on afl.com.au. We'll see you soon.